Well, hi, and welcome to my shop for, I think it's day 2 on this machine. Is it day 2? I think it's day 2. So, since the end of the last video, I did make some changes in here. I changed out 3 capacitors. Here they are. And I took out these 3 capacitors. This turned out to be kind of challenging because one of them is a 2 microfarad capacitor. Low voltage, 25 volts. I had a little bit of trouble replacing that guy, and this one is a 100 microfarad 10 volt one. I had trouble replacing this too because generally I'm carrying high voltage capacitors, but this one was right across the meter movement, so this is probably damping the meter movement. And this last one, 0.25. So that's what I've done. So now what we're going to do is start following the instructions in the manual as if we just finished building this, and we're going to turn it on for the first time. And I think that's probably the right place to start. And the first thing it says is get a 6C4 tube. Here it is. I got 2 of them here. Unknown about the quality of these tubes right now. I haven't tested them. They just came out of my collection. I'm sure I've got many more 6C4s, but we'll start with those 2. And so basically the manual says set this up to test a 6C4 and go from there. So that's kinda what I'm gonna do. Well, I've just been getting this guy ready to actually try testing the first tube, and part of that is putting knobs where the knobs were missing, and that's been easy. Putting these on here, I picked some nice pointed knobs here I thought would be good. When I got to this one's a bit of a problem, because how do I know where it's set? It just goes around and around and around, so there's no stop point. So how do I know how this is set? And that's what I'm working on right now. Try to figure that out. Well, figuring out where to put the knob on here has turned into a real big challenge. I don't have the manual for how to build this, if there is such a build manual out there, because I understand this could have been a kit. The best I can do here, and this is really bad, is examine the switch. This is the gigantic switch that's under that knob, the short knob. You know, there's wafers all the way along here, but this wafer on the back, you know, I'm going to convince myself it's baloney what I was going to say. It only had a couple of connections to it, but it doesn't. You know, it's baloney. I thought maybe by examining the position of the ring here I could deduce when the meter was in test position. But there is another hint in here. It says if you don't have this on the test setting, if you have it on any other setting, if I read this right, no voltages will reach the tube under test. Now that kind of makes sense, right? Because you're doing a short test. You're putting shorts on all the different elements in some pattern, and you can't have voltage supplied there while you're doing that. And that doesn't make sense at all. So my thinking is I could turn the unit on, rotate this, watch for a voltage in the socket, and when the plate voltage appears in the socket, then I know I've got this set on test. That's about the best way I can do it, I think. I haven't come up with any other way. And of course, I'd be doing this with the unit. I don't even know if this works yet. You know, another possibility is this set to line. I should get a line voltage reading over here, which apparently is supposed to be a half scale reading. Would that only appear when this is in test mode? I don't know. I think I'm going to go for the let's watch for a plate voltage. What I'll do is we'll stick with the tube they recommend you start with, the 6C4. I'll figure out which one of these is the plate. You know, it's written right here actually. I could kind of take it right off this control perhaps. And there's another potential place to take the plate voltage from here. How about taking it right from there? How would I know for sure what I'm seeing? Where would I even know to hook up? Look at that thing. Let's go with what I know for sure. I know where the plate will occur in these sockets. So let's see, how do we approach this? We would set this for 6C4. Then I do that at this point in time. There's no reason why I shouldn't. 6C4. Yeah. Oh. Can't read the tube numbers now. 6A6, so close here. Yeah, I've got this on its side. The roll paper is going to slowly slip downwards, I imagine. And 6B. Oh, another page. Oh my gosh, what's happening? Ugh. I'm going to have to start depending upon the charts I can get on the internet and not on this. Oh my god, it's going to stop, isn't it? I'm going to read it. Still got quite a few rotations in it. Here we are, 6C. Did I miss it? Oh my gosh, there, I'm getting there. 6D. Whoops, I missed it. Oh, son of a gun. This is why roll charts are crappy. Oh boy. I must have gone right by it. 6C7, here we are, 6C4. Six point three E G G G. Okay, E G G G E G G. Then a dash on this one. And then the next set down B E B D B. Whoops. Yeah, B. What? What am I reading here? Two sets of settings. There's two sets of settings for this too. 6C4. 40650. 40. This is exciting. 650. Did I get that right? I shouldn't have said that right in the middle of doing that. Four 40650. 40650. Okay. Kind of dirty here. The KO set. Oh, I didn't put a knob on here. I'll have to get a knob for this. So the other ones though is should be 12000. 12000. The bias is set to 4.8, but you have to do that with the unit working. I don't care about that too much because I'm not really going to test the tube. I'm testing the tester. I'm going to look for voltage. The tube won't even be plugged in. I just look for voltage. It's just a quick thing to figure out this switch, so I don't have to sweat over this too much, but practice is good. And then we have the actual GM and where the shorts should be found. Oh man, it's quite the tester. So we'll just stick the bias kind of in the middle here. There's a this affects the scale reading. Okay, I'm just getting myself ready to turn this guy on. The only objective is to figure out this switch. So I need to hook up, I need to get some voltage out of one of these terminals. So we'll stick with the 6C4, and we'll just figure out which of the 6C4 is the plate. As I find my book. C4. So the plate is either 1 or 5. I have my choice. Pin 1 or pin 5. Pin 1 or pin 5. Pin 1 or pin 5. And pin 1. I don't think about it. I do it from behind. I'm used to counting pins from behind. Pin 1. Pin 1 is that one. That one is pin 1. Hey, time to bring out one of these VTVM. Okay, I gotta get a lot of stuff set up here, so I'm gonna stop the video and do that. Okay, all about getting the knob on right. So what I've done is I've hooked up the voltmeter lead for this voltmeter to what I believe is a plate connection on the socket where the 6C4 would go, but I'm pretty sure that same plate voltage would be on all these sockets. So I just, be consistent, I picked what I'm pretty sure is the right pin for plate. Now I'm doing this on the assumption that the machine is working, essentially working. So I have every expectation it will develop a B+ voltage. If I don't see a reading on here, then there's a long list of reasons why. It wouldn't necessarily just be the switch, my switch idea. It doesn't work. There could be other problems. There could be no B+ in this thing. I don't know yet. You might say, why don't you test for it? Well, in a way, I am testing for it now. I'm going to swing this around. Okay, so meter set to DC plus, and the 500 volts. I really don't know what to expect. I have these controls set for a 6C4 plate. Wait a minute. Yeah, G. I couldn't. Son of a gun. Wow. Okay. So from my eye angle right now, when I look at this control, I can't see the letter. Well, what I see is A. So I think, well, there's the letters, starting with A, B, C, D, E. You'd think F, G would be over here, but G is actually under here. So the reason I'm bringing this up is I'm teaching myself how to, what are the typical mistakes that can be made with this machine. And one of them is, like, here's another one. There's a 0. From where I'm standing, I can see the 1, but I can't see the 0. Of course, I'm not standing in the right spot, and the whole thing's turned sideways, but all part of getting familiar with this thing. Trying to not make a mistake with it. I think we're set here. Just have to find the end of the power cord. Okay. The main master switch is off. Now I'm going to start this up with the dim lights, of course. These guys. I changed a couple capacitors. Let's take this out. I'm going to start it up with the most restriction I can. Test first the on-off switch. Okay, all indications are the off switch was off. And we'll turn this on. Now, what can happen here? Just to rehearse. So I'm not surprised. The lights could come on full. If they do, big problems in here. Power off. The lights could come on half full. Okay, I'm half paralyzed. I'm not sure what that means exactly. The lights kind of come on, go down, they're pretty low, or don't even show. Don't even show. That's actually good in a way, because this is a low current draw, I would imagine. there anything I need to do before I hit the switch? So this meter is set to line right now. So my guess is the meter is going to go upscale towards the center. When the line is adjusted properly, oh, I missed a knob here. When the line's adjusted properly, this will be in the center. So my guess is with this here, this should come up to here in this area. If this has to be on test to make my attempt at determining this work, I'll bet you it does. Or it doesn't. Because this is a meter switch, so maybe it's just setting what the meter's looking at and the machine is doing its business in the background no matter what. Got this gas button pushed. Oh, it's a spring loader. Okay, that's good. I can't think of any other reason here to not go ahead. So here we go. One light very bright. Yeah, one light pretty bright. Supply voltage 40 volts. Very low. Nothing really bad happening. Hey, what about the voltage in there? I stopped short of... Yes, I didn't stop short. I have it connected. We're seeing absolutely zero here. There's a good chance the voltage, there's a warning that you should not plug the tube in until everything is set. That sort of suggests that as you turn these controls, voltages are moving around in here. My other tester, no voltages are applied to the tube until you push the test button. All these machines are different. They're all different. Darn it. Okay, so you can't quite see the meter there for this. I keep an eye on this. My expectation is it will come up quite high when either... Now what about this line test thing? Oh yeah, we're still down at 50 volts. So I don't know what this is doing here. No change in that. And this test is... So we got a test, we got a test, and we got a test. We got three things that I may have to do in order to even see the voltage here. So in other words, I rotate this around to test. The voltage probably won't appear just because, but let's try it. So I'll flip this. I'll give up on this line adjustment. I'll give it more voltage. Come on, Jim. Let's get something happening here. Okay, now we're giving it 104 volts. That should be enough to make it work. Pilot light is on. Meter hasn't moved. Meter set to line. Normal. No action on the meter. Okay, let's keep going. I want to make sure the smoke is clearly visible. So we still have no voltage here. So we'll give up on the line thing for now. I don't really know what's going on with that. We'll go to the test and see if this pops up. Nope. Okay. Now there wasn't a warning about don't you dare push the test button until this is in test position. It just said it won't work. So let's rotate this around now and see if I hit the test point, if this will pop up, and that'll tell me where it is. Here we go. Well, okay, so that didn't do it. So either there is no B plus in here, which is possible, this meter's not working right. Not that this is supposed to react to B plus during the line adjust, but we got a couple of things there that are not looking good. So I have a test button here, spring loaded one position and hold in the other. So I could flip it into hold and then start rotating this again. At the same time, if I do something here that I shouldn't do, because I don't know, I'm not supposed to do it yet, those lights will come on bright. See, this one's on a little bit. Okay, I can't think of any other way to do it here. So first we're going to use the spring load and just make a quick shot. Quick shot. Okay, I was watching these guys, nothing happened. Watch this one. Nothing. Okay, so I'm going to put this on hold, and then I'm going to rotate this switch and pray I don't somehow blow this tester up. Well then, if I'm worried about blowing it up, since I now think this is a valuable tester, I won't do that. We'll go spot by spot. So I'm going to turn this, start here. Here we go. I'm trying to watch the meter here, but the lighting is not so favorable for it. Let's just get on with it. Here we go. Is there any B+? That's the question. For sure the meter's connected? It's all set. Yeah, there we go. And then there, and there, there. Oh, 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 action, we got action. So that's on the setting 3 right now. I think we found it. Learned a little bit about this tester too. In the meantime, 3. Oh, no, 3. Incidentally, that's 125 volts there. 3, so 3 is actually test, so I got it. Excellent. Let's kill a power here. Don't forget. Very good. Wow, okay, so that was a big deal. We want this to be on test. There we are. Good. And then also, I think, well, it says the thing can produce some voltage and get it to a socket. Great. Now I'll get back to doing what the manual says, which is we're almost there, really. Pop in the 6C4 and test it. I didn't move any of these. This is on test. Oh, I have to do the bias adjustment on it. Is there a bias adjustment? Bias 4.8 volts. So is that something you set without the tube in there? Turn this to bias, put the power back on. I would think you'd set the bias before you put the tube in. So this meter should be reading bias now. Once again, it's failing to move. Bias not applied until the test button is thrown. Okay, let's try that. I see the B+ popping up on the meter over yonder, but I don't see any bias coming up here. The meter is set sensitive, or it's set to 10. Maybe this means 0 to 10 volts is the range of the, yeah, I'm sure this is actually controlling the range of this, not the meter. Did the meter, maybe the meter switch is bad, maybe it's not making contact. I don't see anything. Oops, sorry, my arm's on the way. I don't see anything happening there. Let's put this on hold, the test switch. And wiggle this a bit. Hoping something happens down here. No. No. Something wrong with the way it's set. Needs the tube to be plugged in to do this? How can it possibly need the tube to be plugged in? Some setting isn't right on here. You need to have the tube plugged in. Which is it? Meter normal reverse switch may be failing to make contact. Watching the meter down here now. Ha 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 ha. You see it? I saw something happen there. So the good news on that is, looks like there was a charge sitting in the machine, and when I threw the switch, it applied the charge briefly. That indicates stuff can get from here to there. That's good. Kind of indicates the meters. I wish the meter would move up a little bit. So we have the line adjust and the bias adjust, and neither one is making this meter go. So why would I think it's going to go in test mode? I don't know. Why not stick a tube in there? Don't know the answer to that either. Let's stick a tube in there. 6C4. Everything is set. Yeah, I'm gonna, because I'm just a nervous Nelly here, I'm gonna cut the power briefly. Plug this in. I don't like the idea of things blowing up right in my hand. Not that anything's gonna blow up. Nothing's gonna blow up. Go in there. Wow. This is it. Well, I don't think a lot of tubes have been shoved into these sockets. That's pretty tight. That's good. Power on. So now we can do stuff like right away. We can change the meter to read the current down here. I believe. I think there might be tricks to it. Well, I gotta watch it now. I know the last tube tester. I've got stuff in my head from that last tube tester. Think, man, this is not the last one. So far, nothing has occurred. We will try. So we're on bias. I don't see any variations here at all. Don't like it. If we flip this on to test, and then test, this meter is going to try to read the GM, I think, in the mode we're in right now. How do you go from GM to EM? EM is, as I now know, it's just an emissions test. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. That's interesting. It says in here. GM. You got me. Let's hit the button and see what happens. Go to test. And we will test. So what I saw happen there is I saw this light brighten up. I saw this light brighten up. Now, wait a minute. Those two things aren't supposed to go together. Let's try that again. Test. Okay, so this went down. This went up. That means when I put this into test mode, the unit, well, it didn't like it much. You know what I didn't do? I didn't go around and do the short test. A bozo. So the short test is all about lighting up a little light here, I think. Where is it? Where's the little short? Here's the short light. Not near the control. So let's watch that light. Ah! Now wait a minute. Maybe there's supposed to be shorts on some of these. There's shorts everywhere. Okay, let's not jump to conclusions. If we look on the roll chart, C4, it gives 1, 3, 4, and 5. So I believe you're supposed to see a light on those settings. 1, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so a flashing light. I don't know if you can see it there or not. You probably can't see it. Flashing light doesn't mean anything in these testers. No other shorts. Okay, so the tube has passed the shorts test. So a really big question is, what's the problem with it? That I hit the test switch and this just goes right down. This should not go right down. It should not go right down. And this goes right up. Should not go right up. because I've got something set wrong. Because the bias is way off. No, I think it's another indication that there's something amiss here. Let's try it again. There we go. Oh, hey, different result that time. Why different? What happened? So, I don't know if this moved, but I didn't see the light go bright. Because it's not in test. That's why. Now we're in test. Oh! Okay, well, it's not dimming the light now. What did I do here that I don't realize I did? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I'm totally lost here. Let's watch again for this meter coming up on the test. Okay, so this meter is like never reacting. Have I ever seen this come up? Except my own application of power. This guy's got tubes in him. Could it be one of the tubes is dead? So they're both lit. Yeah. Big tube. Big tubes get hot. They're either big because they get hot, or they're big because they're high voltage inside them. Well, I'm kind of floored here on what to do next. Why is the behavior not the same way twice? It's probably my behavior. Oh, there it goes again. There it goes. Oh, this is inconsistent. Well, you know what? There's 100 million switches in this thing, and any one of them can be open or unreliable. That might be where I have to go next. I have to do something. I should really kind of work on them one at a time. So it appears as if this switch is not behaving reliably. When it does seem to behave, I don't like the result. Now we're not getting anything. What is all that about? What is all that about? Okay, small risk of a fire here. Small risk of me getting high from the fumes. What happened? What? So we've gone from sort of not working very well to not apparently working at all. Wow. What if we tried the other two? Can't imagine that's the problem. So review again. Never seen the meter work under any circumstances. Can't adjust the line properly. Can't set the bias properly. Saw what looked like short circuits, exceptionally heavy load, sometimes when putting it into test mode. B plus seems to be there. It seems to be in the range of reasonable. There are two power supplies inside this tube tester. Two separate power supplies. So this is the rectifier for one, and this is the rectifier for the other. You can guess one of them has to put out some punch. It must be this guy, the big tube. The other one not putting out much punch, so they're using a much lighter rectifier. It doesn't have much current going through it. Perhaps one of these is not producing its B plus. why would that stop the meter from reading? Or when I changed the capacitor on the meter, did I somehow muck it up? Now I can't see how that could happen because I attached my capacitor. I think I can swing it all the way around here. Let me take a look at it. I attached my capacitor. There it is there. Now what was in here was a large low voltage no, it wasn't electrolytic. It was an electrolytic, wasn't it? This is what was on it. There's a positive end to it. 100 microfarads with a positive. See, it says positive, so it's only way you can get 100 microfarads into a package like that is to have it be electrolytic. So I've installed an electrolytic. If I put it in backwards and shorted the meter out, I've tested the meter movement. The meter movement moves. Test it again with that capacitor on there. You have to start at square one. Does the meter even work? Did I somehow damage it? I can't imagine that. Where's my voltmeter? Where'd you go, voltmeter? I want to use the same one I used to do this. Oh, it's right in front of me here. Hidden by camera. So I'm just going to use the meter as a source of voltage to actually make this meter move. Not really interested in the reading on this one. Just want to see the pointer move. Maybe I hooked up the capacitor backwards. So this should give an upscale movement. There's nothing. Ain't nothing happening there. Yes, it is moving. What's going on? It's so irregular. Okay, let me clip this on. Could be my leads. Something with the capacitor in it. Well, you saw it. The meter works. Capacitor's not shorted. That's a highly reliable one I put in there. Tested it ahead of time. What size capacitor did I put in there? I think it's a 2. No, this is a 50. I remember now, this is a 50. I thought about putting 2 in to get up to 100, but then I decided, what's the harm in that? This is almost certainly nothing more than damping the meter movement. So it's a little less damp with a 50 in there. And this measured nothing on the tester, on the capacitor tester. Well, I guess, we just have to assume now that there's problems inherent in here, or probably an open resistor somewhere that's stopping things from happening. We should probably kind of work our way back from the meter, maybe on a troubleshooting basis, to try to figure out why it is the meter's not working. If we can get ourselves there. I'm looking at a connection that looks like I soldered it but did a poor job. So the power's off on this. Yeah, I like that. Bad, poorly soldered wire there. Looks like I didn't solder it. Son of a gun. But I don't think that guy could be responsible for what's happening. Or responsible for what's not happening. But it is tied right into the bias control. Bias control here. You know, I think a bias is DC and a capacitor blocking it. How can a capacitor that's not connected, therefore it's blocking, stop the meter? I don't know. But let's solder it up and find out that in fact that was my mistake. These old wires get quite a patina on them, and they don't like the solder. There we go. Yeah, soldered this time. I can't imagine it's going to make a difference, but let's give it a try. Everything okay? On we go. Watching the dim lights here. Everything is the way it was. Put this online, hoping this to pop up. It did not. Do we need to put it on test to make this pop up? Doesn't appear to do any good. This is on test, this is online. Let's try the normal reverse switch. Perhaps the switch up here. Sorry, a little too close, right? That'll have to do for now. Watching again. Yeah, you know what? It's the switch. It's the switch here, for sure. Okay, we know what it is. We're going to clean that switch. This is the way this is going to go. This is going to go one item at a time. Dirty switches all around, so I can get into it here. And that completes the cleaning process. Let's see how we're doing now. Power on. We're on line. Adjust. Normal meter. I would have thought this would have popped up right away. Right away. Right away. Switch. Still acting up. Not too bad. Oh, 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 oh. Get a high resistance thing happening here. That's better. Okay, line adjust. Yeah. Right there. But you know what? The line is very low because I'm feeding this with a restricted voltage. The line is 101 volts. But that's okay because I've compensated for it with this. A little bit of heat in there. It's good to keep the dim lights on while we're doing this. And where are we at now? Now we're almost... So bias. Now we set the bias. The bias was 4.8 volts. We're on the 10 volt scale. Bias. Come on, bias. You can do it. Come on. Show me a bias. Okay, so maybe we need to throw the test switch for that. Oh, I saw the big light come on over here when I did that. Both coming on. It's like putting a big short. Big bad short. Big bad short on it. Let's pull this tube out. Oh, my imagination. Still a big bad short. Did I not set these for 6C4? Is this not a 6C4? Did I grab a wrong tube? 6C4, no doubt about it. Am I finding out the 6C4 has a short in it? What the heck is going on? Oh! You're seeing a bright blue light right in here. That's just coming from an LED over here. In case you're wondering why I've developed a blue glow around the tube here. Whoops. That's all that is. So I got some weird behavior here. This test switch seems to be a little hit and miss. You know, it could be that it's got to make 3 contacts. It's making 2, and because it makes 2, it causes this heavy current. That's hard to understand why that would happen. Oops. Gotta watch my hand on this. You can really tell that there's some kind of bad contact going on. You can watch that light bulb in there and get the same effect. It goes dim when the others go bright. In the meantime, no reading on the actual test meter at all. Yeah, this switch goes in 2 directions, so maybe it's trouble in one direction, maybe no trouble in the other. But at the moment, there's no trouble in either direction. Can't see it now, it's not on camera, but the B plus is coming up every time I hit that switch. I put this on the 150 volt scale. Yeah, 130 volts. I have another tube. If the tube was bad, this is not a 6C. Where's the other 6C4 tube? Where'd you go, man? Well, that's too bad. I seem to have one of the tubes appears to have evaporated from my bench here. Must have rolled under my. Nope. Back here. Is it back over here? Well, I don't know what happened. I've gone and lost a tube that was sitting right in front of me a minute ago. How can this be? How can this be? So I'm going to have to go on the assumption that the tube I've got in there is defective, and I got to find the other tube, or I've got to do get out another tube tester. I do have another tube tester. Okay, let's do this. Let's test that same tube in another tube tester. And we'll make sure the tube is good that way. Power off on that. Okay, let's see how this goes. Double check the settings before I turn it on. 6C4, 6.3 filament, 2 for the signal, 20H for the bias, 3076P, 3076P, 5100, 44 sensitivity, F on the plate. We're ready to go. Okay, short check. Oh! There is a short in this tube. How seldom have I found such a thing. Well, I gotta find another 6C4, no doubt about it. Where did it go? Okay, found the other 6C4. Yes, it was sitting right in front of me. Okay, 6C4, let's pop it in. Okay, no short showing. What are the chances that I would grab a shorted tube and try testing a tube tester with a shorted tube? Here we go. Oh, she's really good. So 64 should come up 1430, so it should come up pretty high on here. Just beyond, this is 1500 straight up. 1430 just below that. That's one half. It's the other half. Hey. Oh, P1, P2. Don't do K1, just P1, P2. P1, P2. Okay, try again. Beautiful. Okay, this is the guy who is now heading back into this tube tester. Same guy. Stick him in. Okay, I think still measuring the plate voltage on the meter. I think we're ready now. So this is set to bias. Let's set it to line to start with, just to practice that way. Fire up, fire up. It's fired up. Line check. Oh, that wasn't good. Hip. Why no reading? I flipped this to test. The thing went bright again. That's the problem, man. This switch here is a real problem. I may have to replace it. Shouldn't have to. So line is set correct, even though the actual line voltage is 100 volts. So this thing can work at 100 volts. Okay, offline onto bias. Bias voltage should be 4. No bias adjustment. Bias voltage only read when in test. Put it in test. I want you to see those dim bulbs there. Put it in test and see what happens. This is on bias test. Son of a gun. Look at that. Whoop, you can't see anything. Yeah, it's knocking this way down. This can't be right. I got these set wrong. I bet God, I did something stupid there. Let's try it again. Test. Something dumb is happening. Something dumb is happening at this point. Oh, I was flipping this while it was on bias. Test. Test. No tube. I'll bet you could be that this tester is not friendly to the user. I've got a couple testers, a little difficult to make a mistake with them and hurt something. This one may not be the case. So test, test, test. Now we're still got the same thing going on here. This is going wild now. It says replace. Bias. It jumped a bit. Bias. 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 What did I do? That's right here. So I'm not sure about that. Line. Bias. Test. 3 amps. Okay, test. Check the settings on here. Say right here. 6.3 EGGG dash EGGG dash. Doesn't matter about that. 40650 40650 12000. Up. The tube's in there. I'm not supposed to do that. Okay, we had a boob up. You know what? I think I might have done. I might have read the wrong number here briefly. It should be 12000. 12000. So that's good news. That's good. Should feel good about that mistake. Now we'll try the bias adjustment again. Maybe now it's going to work. I saw it jump. Okay, some kind of voltage was there. What about test? Okay, if I flip it on test, nothing bad appears to happen. The plate voltage, you can just see it over here. Plate voltage goes on that tube during that. Bias, I don't see any bias thing happening again. So we can't control the bias. We can't use this tube tester. So I mean, this has to be resolved at some point. Flip the test. Test. Okay, so we're not. Oh, sorry, I keep putting my arm in the way there. So we're not overloading anything here this time. We're not getting anything here. Test. Okay, maybe it's this switch again. Test. Yeah, look at. Hey, we're getting a test result. Replace. Well, I actually got the thing to test the tube. The tube that tests really well on my other tester. This is a two-part tube. 6E4. It has another whole set of. We can test the other half of the tube by changing these. B, E, B, D. 9. What's that mean? B. So it's probably time for me to read the manual from front to back very carefully. And I've certainly gotten to the point here where we're starting to get somewhere. Still don't like that way those lights were going on. Now you've seen how useful this arrangement is. It's really useful. So I'm going to say that overload thing probably coming from this being set wrong. It's the cathode after all. And no, it's not the cathode, it's just K. JKLMN. No, it's not the cathode. But for sure, I think that problem was because this was set wrong because I booted it up. And now as for this tube actually being bad, I think we can rely on the other tube tester. I do all the time. I've got to guess it's close, if not really quite accurate. So this guy, you know what? We can't trust this without the bias operating. Let's try this bias thing one more time. Let's just fiddle around. We'll put this on to bias. Hey! So how did that happen? That happened because I wiggled this switch. It's another one of these switches. There we are. Now we're cooking. Okay, so it's supposed to be 4.8, I believe. A little awkward how we're getting here. So I'm on the 10 volt scale. Bias at the bottom here. 4.8 is, whoo, how come it jumped? That's 4.8. Oh, it's jumping around. Why is it jumping around? It's this switch up here again. Okay, that's a good reading. 4.8. Okay, the bias is now set to 4.8. It's kind of neat. You actually read the bias voltage directly when you do this. And now we're ready to do the test and see if it comes up in the good range. Better, but this would have me replacing this tube. So what we'll do is a sensitivity study on this. Test on. This isn't making a huge difference, is it? So setting this can't give you a bad. Setting this poorly can't give you a big variation there. So we got lots of other things. There's resistors. You're snapping in resistors here with this control. It says 3K. Is it really 3K? I don't know. There's all these guys in here. Some heat coming from the tubes, of course. It's an awful lot to do here to bring this guy up to snuff. But you know what? I essentially have it working now, which is great. Now we'll just make it work right. Thanks so much for watching, and carry on again tomorrow. See ya. Better shut that stuff off.